In the heart of Sumer's ancient cities, a single word carried the weight of heaven and earth and still echoes through time today. This word, Anunnaki, was more than a name. It was a declaration of divine lineage and celestial authority, a title that bound gods and kings alike to the very sky above. When modern scholars first unlocked the secrets of cuneiform, they found the signs Da Nun, Na, and Anuna stamped on clay tablets, each marked by the sign of divinity. These elements translate most directly as princely offspring, or seed of an identifying. The Anunnaki is the children of An, the supreme sky god. Yet alongside this princely seed meaning, a complementary interpretation appears: those who from heaven came to earth. Both renderings were used by the Sumerians to convey not only familial descent, but also a sacred mission. In the earliest inscriptions, these sky-descended beings are described as rulers, judges, and cosmic architects. When An cast his gaze downward, he dispatched the Anunnaki to enforce order among mortals. To the people of Uruk and Eridu, the Anunnaki were living powers who walked the earth, controlled the winds and waters, and determined the fates of kings. Over centuries, the pronunciation shifted. Under Akkadian influence, the term became Anunnaki or Anunnaku, and the emphasis moved closer to function. The Anunnaki were no longer merely offspring. They were active agents of cosmic law. In Babylonian lists, 70 Anunnaki take seats in the underworld courts, weighing the souls of the dead. In later Assyrian traditions, their ranks expand to 300 paired against 600 Ajiji, their skyborn counterparts. The dual sense of the name, princely seed and celestial emissaries, mirrored the two pillars of Sumerian belief. On one hand, royalty on earth was a reflection of divine bloodlines. Kings claimed Anunnaki heritage to legitimize their rule. On the other hand, worship and ritual sought to appease these powerful beings, whose decrees could bring bounty or calamity. In Eridu, the oldest city, hymns carved into temple walls honor the Anunnaki as lords of the waters and winds. When the rivers flooded too fiercely or drought threatened the crops, priests besieged these skyborn rulers to temper their forces. Each ceremony, each libation, was a reminder that the Anunnaki stood between humanity and chaos. The creation epic Enuma Elish further cements their role. Marduk and his fellow gods carved the world from a slain dragon. The Anunnaki established the new order, assigning roles to lesser deities and shaping the planet's very foundations. Here, their name offspring of An underscores their power to mold land, sea, and sky. Yet even as they built temples and ruled underworld courts, the Anunnaki remained distant in some texts. In the Atrahasis epic, weary of mortal clamor, they conspire to unleash a flood. Enki, god of wisdom and water, secretly warns his chosen priest, preserving humanity. This story reveals the Anunnaki not just as impartial chair judges, but as divine politicians, capable of both wrath and mercy. When the flood subsided and the world renewed itself, hymns and laments speak of the Anunnaki's changing numbers. In some lists they number 50, and others 70, then 300. Each city-state and dynasty counted them differently, adapting the pantheon to fit political and religious needs, yet never abandoning the core meaning tied to an ritual. Texts from Nippur describe elaborate installations of statues for Enlil, chief of the Anunnaki, and offerings to Enki and Eridu at coronation ceremonies. Kings donned crowns bearing Anunnaki symbols, wings, stars, and stylized river motifs to signify their divine mandate. Every festival of planting and harvest echoed with chants invoking the Anunnaki's blessings for fertility and abundance. Over time, neighboring cultures borrowed the name and adjusted its nuance. The Babylonians recast the Anunnaki as judges of fate in the underworld. Seated on glowing thrones where they rendered verdicts on the departed, the Assyrians, ever fond of grand numbers, swelled their ranks to 300, matching them against equally vast Ajiji, suggesting a celestial administration of incomprehensible scope. By the first millennium BCE, the term had spread across Mesopotamia, Syria, and into Anatolia, appearing in letters, contracts, and royal inscriptions. Emperors carved their own dedications, claiming the Anunnaki had whispered omens and guided their victories. Yet even as rulers wielded the word for authority, commoners still saw the Anunnaki as distant powers present. Yes, but accessible only through temple priests and diviners. In medieval times, scribes copying ancient epics preserved the name, though its pronunciation and context blurred. When modern archaeologists uncovered those clay tablets, Anunnaki re-emerged into our awareness, not as a myth relegated to dusty tomes, but as a living concept, still potent in its ability to stir wonder. During the 20th century, writers like Zecharia Sitchin reinterpreted the Anunnaki as ancient astronauts from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to this hypothesis, the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine gold and genetically engineered humans as a slave species. While mainstream scholars dismiss these claims, the popularity of Sitchin's books testifies to the enduring fascination with the name itself. To say Anunnaki today is to tap into layers of meaning built over 5 millennia. It is to speak of gods who descended from the sky, who shaped civilizations, and who judged the fates of all living souls. It is to recall kings who traced their lineage back to the very seed of creation. And it is to wonder whether those ancient words hint at truths we have yet to fully understand. As we continue our journey through the myths and mysteries of the Anunnaki, our next exploration will take us even higher to the very origin of these celestial beings. Join us in the next video as we uncover the story of Anu, the sky god who fathered the Anunnaki.